My name is Elliot Stapleton, and I will be reading The Bite by Lily Atalla. The apartment was empty, except for her. She sat perched upon a wooden chair at the kitchen table, reading a novel with only candlelight and the light of the full moon to help her. The power had gone out, leaving her alone in the dark. But she wasn't afraid. As she turned the page, she accidentally knocked into the candle with her hand. Melted wax dripped off the candle and onto her finger. She sucked in her breath and examined her finger to check for a burn. But she didn't find a burn. She found something else. A bite, in the shape of a semicircle, lay swollen and red on the inside of her wrist. Blood seeped out of each tooth mark, and her veins, typically blue, were especially noticeable around the wound, at an alarming shade of green. Her breath caught in her throat. She had been bitten by a dog last week, but the wound didn't look like that before. Deciding to call a doctor tomorrow, she started walking to the kitchen to clean her wound. But on the way, she stumbled. She wasn't dizzy, she wasn't in pain, but it was like she forgot how to walk. Taking another step, she stumbled again, this time landing on her knees. Without thinking, she started crawling on all fours across the kitchen. But as she put her right arm out, she discovered a small tuft of fur poking out of her sleeve. Slinking back into a kneeling position, she slowly raised her sleeve to find her entire arm covered in tufts of animal fur. She tilted her head with curiosity as her heart raced. This was extremely weird. Forgetting the kitchen sink, she crawled to the bathroom instead. Since she could barely balance on two legs anymore, she pulled herself up using the sink and looked in the mirror. She was stunned at her reflection. Her teeth, gleaming and pointy, poked out of her mouth and stopped below the bottom lip. Her nails, once covered in red polish, were now long and sharp like claws. She flipped over her bitten wrist and gasped. The veins, still an evil shade of green, stretched out like snakes across her forearm, and the dog bite was even more swollen than before. Taking a shaky breath, she looked back in the mirror, realizing her earlobes were red and irritated. The only thing that could have caused it would be her hoop earrings, her silver hoop earrings. It couldn't be. She couldn't be, could she? That dog. What if it wasn't a dog? Just then, searing pain shot through her body. She fell to the floor and started shaking, her body writhing like a snake. As a scream came from the depths of her soul, her hands and her feet were slowly replaced with claws. Fur shot out of her skin, her eyes changed from brown to red and lost all sense of human emotion. That creature was definitely not a dog.